Hi, everybody. This is Marilyn. Do we have audio for this? I'm thinking we may. Thanks very much. Hello, everybody. This is Marilyn, and it's time for the noon edition of Welcome to My World. This is a Friday, which is the 5th of August. So, Friday. Well, I hope everybody was aware of the news at 8:30 this morning, because that sure was a pretty rapid bunch of bars forming. It didn't seem to affect crude oil all that much, but boy, these indices and bonds and the dollar and gold and the currencies are just my goodness sakes, that was a real jolt. So, yes, Al, there will be once in a while, and the way you get the visual is by mousing over the hotcom icon, and you should see charts, and there's one with my little camera thing. There's not too much, I don't think, unless somebody asks something to show you. But the indices, all four, just bolted to the upside along with the dollar, and bonds and gold fell. The Canadian dollar had a real bad hair day right then, too, because there was a lot of Canadian news numbers that came out. Those economic numbers, especially when they come in clusters like that, all at 8:30, they can be, if you're on the right side of the trade, they can be wonderful. These are things, if you look at the news tab on the Apex website, Daryl lays out, usually for this kind of a thing, it's a straddle on these, which you know you're going to lose one side, but you're going to way more than offset that with winning side. And so if you haven't checked that out before, I would strongly encourage you, especially those of you who like to trade the Nadex. And he's got all kinds of trades, and he has trades laid out in there for you on the currency pairs overnight too, or at least when to put them on after a certain hour, depending on what what currency is likely to be affected. So I would, if that's your thing, and I know we have a number of new people that have joined us here recently, so that's a very valuable part of Apex, that news tab. The VIX had moved down below 12 even earlier this morning. It was down into the 11s. Right now it's trading 1130. That's the lowest it's been in the last 52 weeks. The low before that was something like 1048, I think. So the overnight trades, I don't know that all of them are overnight, but it's the place to check is the news tab on the Apex website. Go to the Apex website and look at the news tab and click on the whatever day is appropriate, and you'll find all kinds of stuff. And if you don't know how to put those on, then go to the forum and find the training guides and look at the videos. He's got tons of information on how to do that. So anyway, we've had a lot of really good questions here in the last couple of days. And I wanted to address some of those because usually Friday afternoon, especially after a morning like this, most people are kind of done trading and trying to get their head to stop spinning for a while. That happened to me real early, so I just quit trading. I had a pretty good morning, and that's the end of that. Besides which, it was so intense that I can't focus after something like that. it's just a lost cause, and you don't want to keep going and going and going, because sure thing, you're gonna start doing some stupid stuff. Oh no, let's put it this way, I will start doing stupid stuff, so I just don't do it. Anyway, yesterday I had a great question about how to trail stops, and I haven't talked about this in a while, so I thought if some of you are not used to doing this, keep in mind I'm talking about futures, but this is also can be used on the spreads if that's what you like to trade. Binaries, it's a little bit difficult, but it sure will help you follow the underlying markets, and make some determinations of if you want to grab your profit and get out. But the question I was asked was, how do you decide how much to put in your dome or your chart trader for stop loss and for a take profit? And then how do you do it after that? I mean, how do you manage? Be sure you have your chart trader turned on. I like to trade off the dome, but I think most people in here like to trade off the chart trader. And you get that thing turned on. Let's see. Let me find one of these. It's easy. See this little up here on the top of my crude oil C's chart? These icons in this toolbar up here. You click on this one right here. I don't know. It's the little bubbles, and that looks like a pattern, or I don't know what it is. But you can click on this thing, and it will open up this arrow over here at the side. So then you can click on this, and you can actually, there's a whole video of how to use this thing. I don't like that. I prefer the dome. So anyway, there is when you get on here, let me show you this, because some people may not know it. I don't know how you use this thing, but this one, okay. Here's one that says, let's see, TF 2 contracts. Okay. What that does, if I want to see what it is, I think, yeah, I've got it set for a stop loss of 15 and a take profit of 20. That particular one. So let's just say you set yours for something else, whatever it is you set it for. I have my crude oil set at 20 and 30, 20 stop loss and a 30 take profit. The reason you want to put it maybe a little bit more, the way I decide, excuse me, the way I decide is decide what is, if you are so wrong, it's unbelievable, you just flat blew it. What is the worst loss you are willing to take on a contract of whatever that market is? I mean, putting 20 loss in ZB is insane, but there is such a thing as not realizing the news or what time it is, and you get on the wrong side of something. There is such a thing as putting in a buy order when you meant to put in a sell order. Gee, I don't know who could have possibly ever done that. And it takes you a minute to figure it out. Well, if the market's moving very fast, that stop loss can get hit. And so you definitely want to protect your account with that thing. But do I intend to sit there and take a 20 tick loss on crude oil? No. But I want it. That's my safety net. If I'm jumping on the trampoline, it's a lot better if you land on the trampoline than on the ground. So then you get these bubbles that appear on your chart. Once you're filled, you can change these orders all you want to. But for instance, if I had taken, let's say right here at 9:35, if I had taken crude oil with a sell order at the cross of this EMA, this was a lorry touchback kind of thing to the EMA. These two EMAs right here, when they cross, let's just say I took this short at. I'm happier with my numbers, so I can figure stuff out in my head. I guess I'm kind of lazy about that, but anyway, I don't like oddball numbers, so I put this order in at 41.65. Let's say, see if I get a fill right there. Okay, the 20 stop loss. As soon as this thing gets going in the slightest amount in my favor, I will move that stop loss down. At first thing I do is move it down to 15 max. But once I've got 2 or 3 ticks, I move it down to 10. Then your number one goal is to get that stop loss to break even. And break even is exactly where you got in. So at that point, you're at no harm, no foul. If you get knocked out, the trading police are not going to arrest you. You can always get back in. But once I've got about 10 ticks in my favor, I will move that thing to break even. And then my next goal is to protect 5 ticks. My next goal is to protect 10. And at 10, I will generally let it run. If it gets past 20, I will protect 15. If it gets past 25, I move it to 20. So worst thing that can happen to me at that point is I'm going to get 20 ticks out of that thing. And you just kind of manage it. If the market is moving very, very fast, I will take that 30 ticks, take profit, and move it to someplace. And I use the 6 tick is a good thing to use that for. If you got into this, say off this trend catcher, there's an E, and you took it right at the trend catcher. The first place that you're thinking it might go is up here to the green ice. So whatever amount of ticks, I will put my take profit at the green ice, because that's the most likely thing. Sometimes if it moves off of settlement and it's going pretty fast, I will move that up to a deviation level. That's my preference, a deviation level or a magnet, or the top. The crude oil bus drivers love the top and the bottom of the range channels. I discovered that a long time ago. They're very big on those. The other thing is that these range channels can also give you a hint about what is expected. Look at where crude oil is right now. The range channels are just kind of even Steven right here. They're not inclined to do a darn thing. If you had this one moving way up here, that's a hint that this thing is going to keep on going. And that's all this is. This is a game of probabilities and looking for the clues. You need the clues. You just follow the clues. So I hope that helps. And see how the next hour's range box is starting to move up, and we've got volume that's coming back in. Not much, but it's a little bit better than it was. You'll notice that we're getting these magnets. Not so many of them today, but we're up here in this is kind of historical territory. But these zones up here, these make really good places to take profit too. You are never, ever, ever going to get this just exactly to the tick and, oh my goodness, I left money on the table and blah. If you get 60% of a move, you did very well. Let go of it. Don't get excited because you left money on the table. You will always leave money on the table if you are trading for a profit. So you're just looking for you're looking for the filet mignon out of the whole cut right there. You just want the best stuff. Then we've had somebody ask about magnets. They're not familiar with magnets, haven't used those before. At Apex, we spell magnets a little bit differently. We spell them M-O-N-E-Y. So if you have an interest in that, you might want to tune up your interest in magnets a little bit. The magnets, keep in mind what the bus driver is. The bus driver is in business to make money. He will go where the passengers are. Those magnets are where the bus driver keeps going over and over and over again. The reason he keeps going there is because he's got business there. There are passengers getting on or passengers getting off his bus there. So I would, and they're based on volume. It's where volume activity is and or is going one direction. The bus driver's run out of passengers. What's he going to do? He's going to turn the bus around right there, and he's going to go back the other way to pick up more passengers. So this is part of laying out the clues, like the deviations lay out the clues, the deviation lines, and all this other stuff. This isn't just a bunch of stuff we're fiddling around with here. This really works, and the accuracy of it is unbelievable. Somebody else asked about the deviation indicator, and I noticed, I discovered this in TF, but I noticed that this deviation indicator down here makes these mountain formations, and you can trade these things. And you can trade them when you follow the trend right here. This is going down right here. When's the last time it went up? This thing was going up and it was going down right here. The deal is that once in a while you get a formation like this where it's not really doing anything. And I just labeled that bad guy country, because if you get into a trade when it's doing this, those guys are going to get you. There's no question. They will take your money. They're going to hold you up and rob you, and you're going to walk away from that trade feeling like you've been beaten to death. This is exactly the same thing that Lori calls a chop box, and sometimes it's easier for people to see. But it's where you're going to get a choppy thing. Just get out of there. And I mean, don't be trying to trade this. If the bus driver can't make up his mind which way he wants to go, well, don't get on a stupid bus. That's all. If the guy isn't doing what you want him to do, then don't ride his bus. Yeah, chop box and bad guy country. It's basically the same. We're saying the same thing. We just and I also wanted to remind people, because we've had some new people, I think, that kind of are trying to figure out what we're doing in here. There is absolutely nobody in this room who gets paid to do a darn thing. We are all traders in here. Everybody in here is a trader. The purpose of this room is to help each other learn to be better traders. And so sometimes we get a little enthusiastic about something, and we've had people say, well, Gee, no wonder they pay you to be enthusiastic. No, they don't. Trust me when I tell you. This is a labor of love. Lori and I started really zeroing in on this because we learned right quick, and Daryl told us that this would happen. We learned right quick that the more we explain things to other people, the more it sinks in to us. So when you ask questions, it's fabulous, because every once in a while I think, oh, golly, I forgot about that. It's very good for us. So by all means, and we've got other people, there are some, keep in mind who's in this room from time to time. We've got everybody in this room, from guys who were ex-floor traders on the exchange, all the way down to the person who just came into the room yesterday, and it's kind of like, gee, what's going on in here? There are newbies, complete beginners who have never traded before, all the way up to vast experience in here. So ask away. If you don't get your question answered, it's because we didn't see it, because we're busy trading. I mean, like this morning, I couldn't even find any magnets. I was deep into watching my trades. So let's see. And Ezra, I will get to that in 1 second. I'm going to put it up. We can all go over it together. The other thing, I stumbled across something that I wanted to share with you because I think it might help people. I stumbled across this, I don't know, it's some silly thing I was looking at. And a young comedian had asked Jerry Seinfeld, how do I become a better comedian? Or how do I become a comedian? How do I become a better comedian? Something like that. And his answer was really, really interesting and highly applicable to trading. He just looked at the guy and he said, you can't. You can't. He said, I'll tell you what you can do. He said, you get a big calendar and put it on your wall, and get a big black marker, and you write every single day. You write jokes every single day. And every day you do that, you put an X on the calendar. You have one goal and one goal only. And that is to put that X on there. It looks like a chain. He said, just don't break the chain. And you know what? There are calendars that put a whole 30 days in one line, so it's real easy to get a whole year. I think you can print those out online, and some of them are huge. I mean, you go to an office supply or something. But if you took a black marker and immediately marked out, just put a black X on Saturday, Sunday, and every day that you already know you're not going to trade, like for instance, you're not going to trade certain days because you're taking the kids to grandma's that day, and whatever you're doing. But all the other days, get a red marker and a green marker. And all you have to do is mark, if you had a winning day, it's green, and if you had a losing day, it's red. And what your goal is to put green X's on your calendar. It also would help a person determine what the ratio is, what their winning days to losing days. If you're having more losing days, you got to stop and figure out why and do something different. Get some help. There's a bazillion people. I don't even know how many apexers there are, but I think there must be 20,000. Get some help. There are plenty of people with great ideas. Most of that is caused because you didn't you thought you understood something you didn't really understand, and you're not seeing it correctly. So it's real easy. And then your goal every day is just to mark an X on the chart. That's on your calendar. And the end of the month, how many green X's do you have? And I know Anthony already is not going to, because he doesn't care. He's marking how many first downs and how many yards he gained and how many touchdowns he's got. And whatever head game you have to play to keep yourself on track, because this is a very lonely business. That's why we have this room open 24/7, so you can come in here and just get better and better. So let's see. I'll take some of these questions because we've got time today. Ezra put a screenshot in here. Let me get this screenshot. Okay, and what do we want to know, Ezra? Any indication that it might go past the -1 on ZB? Let's see. I'll tell you. Oh, I saw this trade. Yes. No, there isn't. But I can tell you this. I can tell you this about that. If you get 10 ticks on bonds, take it. If it goes on, then get back in and try for another 10 ticks. Be happy if you get 5. Bonds, when it is trending, it's not unusual for it to go to 2 and even 2.5, and I've seen it go a few ticks beyond 3 several times. It will break those deviations, the big ones, the 1s and 2s and 3s, more frequently than anything else I've noticed. But then I don't watch, I don't watch everything. But the entry on that one, let me look. Is that a 4-tick? Yeah. Let me get my 4-tick here and I can tell you. Okay, for me, the entry on that one was the trend catcher, and that on my chart is 172.10. $172.10, and you're gonna love this new indicator because that will tell you to stay in that baby and write it down. Hopefully we're gonna get this out. Oh, I am praying. If it was up to me, I'd be today, but we have Captain Courageous who really wants it to be right. So the range channel between the 2 deviation points. Christopher, the question is, if you've got the range channel between 2 deviation points, that can be just an anomaly. It also depends on what time you've got your range channels set to. I used to keep those on the 6-tick, and I had them set to 20 minutes on the 6-tick because it's moving faster and faster. Oh, Ezra, the question is on that trade, when would you get back in? Probably when it cleared that deviation level. When it cleared the deviation level, you've got plenty of time right there. You've got a couple of bars. Just put your, and once you're out, then go ahead and put a stop in at the deviation level of sell stop. So it'll, in other words, I call that the bus driver picking you up. The bus picks you up. That's the bus stop. You just be at the bus stop, wait for the bus pick you up. If he doesn't get down there, well, you know what? he's not going to pick you up. So let's see. Yes, and Aaron makes a great point. There's a lot of people in the back office. Some of those are the programmers and what have you, and clearly they do get paid. The rest of us sometimes volunteer for some of these projects to run some of this stuff. And believe you me, I mean, it's absolutely nothing for a group of 3 or 4 to test something all night so they can have it done and ready and the bugs sprayed out of it the next day. So and replay. I'm not Lori loves replay, and she's the queen of replay. I hate that thing. It drives me insane. So it's if it works for you, and I can't recommend it highly enough because it will really help you. Okay, did I get all these? I'm not sure if you... Anyway, if I didn't, then just ask again. Next week, we've got news numbers. Now, for those of you who have never paid much attention to news, I just invite you to just make a little 30-minute chart and take a look at the dollar, the symbol's DX, any of the indices, the Canadian dollar, the 6E is the euro, and you might have a little different idea about the news. You have to be a news junkie. These are economic news numbers that we're talking about. On Monday, thank goodness, it'll be pretty quiet. There's not anything coming out of great significance. But then it picks up Tuesday and the rest of the week. Wednesday and Thursday will be bond auction next week also.